Hey, it's Heidi. Welcome back for another video. Today I want to talk to you about pressure. Pressure to perform, particularly when you're in a slump and you actually don't feel like doing anything. In fact, you're actually feeling kind of sad, kind of lethargic, maybe even a little sad or depressed and completely and totally unmotivated. I've been helping people for a long time untangle from any kind of codependent behavior. And part of codependent behavior is actually a personality pattern that I call pretending Paula. Pretending Paula doesn't really care how she feels. She constantly puts on a happy face no matter what and just goes with the show, man. Never let them see you sweat. Suck it up, buttercup. If I'm not feeling it, doesn't matter. Nobody needs to know. I just need to pretend that everything is great. And so pretending Paula does that in a lot of areas of her life, right? She feels a lot of pressure to perform in a lot of areas of her life, whether it be financially, she's independent and responsible and the family's depending upon her, maybe in a relationship. It's not that great, but she feels the responsibility to go along with the status quo, not rock the boat. Maybe at work, she's unhappy. So you can see all the areas, right? So even though she's feeling sad or depressed or defeated or alone or anxious, she's expected just to suck it up, put a permagrin on, and charge on him with a show. And so we think that works, right? We're like, oh yeah, especially because we're a culture that rewards that. We actually give people credit for hustling, pushing through, maintaining this era of nothing's gonna, the suck it up kind of mentality. We reward people for actually succumbing to that. But there's this thing like, well, you got to speak positively no matter what, right? There's that other level of pressure. I actually call that toxic positivity, where we're expected to pretend everything is great, even then when it's totally and completely falling apart. So where's the way, right? What is the middle way, right? Like that's really what I'm searching for. And I know that in my studies, what I've come to understand is that our nature and how we're wired actually corresponds with the nature of the universe. And we happen to be on planet Earth. So if I look around my surroundings and I study nature, I'm going to get a pretty good clue of how I'm wired as well. But we want to be like a freak of nature, right? We want to like defy all odds or be the 1%er or whatever. But I want to align my nature with the way that I'm actually wired and the way the universe is wired, so I understand myself a little bit better, so I can navigate myself a little better. So if I just take that philosophy and I look around and I look at nature and I study the planet we're on, I see that everything follows a rhythm and a cycle, right? To some extent. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. There's light and then there's dark. And then on that spectrum, there's everything kind of in between. There's seasons. There's a winter, a spring, a summer, a fall. So I see evidence all around me of changing cycles. The moon goes in different phases of the moon, right? So if I align my nature to the nature of the universe or the nature of the planet that we're living on, I actually can release and surrender to the place I'm in and the position I'm in, and actually recognize where I'm at and stop swimming upstream, stop fighting it all the time. It doesn't mean that all is lost. Like, for example, for me, I was feeling pretty unmotivated this last week, just like, financial pressure to launch things, pressure to, make things happen. And I came off of like a really good month, right? Where things were working and I felt super motivated. And then I thought, man, now I've got to continue on that track, right? I want to keep the momentum going. But the reality is, if I look at the nature, there is always a create and collapse. There is always a tide comes in, the tide goes out. So if I release and surrender to that, and that's what I'd done. I started journaling and I was like, man, what's it going to take for me to be more motivated? And instead I surrendered and said, well, what do I really want? Where am I really in this moment? And really, I just wanted peace. I just wanted to give myself permission to take a break. I wanted to give myself, now it's hard to do because then the dialogue starts in, no, you can't take a break. You need to pressure through, that old programming. No, you need to step up. You need to power bust through. That is a very masculine way of looking at the world. And look, we're all wired with masculine and feminine energy within us, but that's a patriarchal view of the world. But if I take this more feminine view, I say, well, no, it's about cycles. It's about a birth process, right? It's about a gestational period. It's about ebb and flow. It's about release and surrender, not dominating everything all the time. So if I look at this season I'm in, I started journaling and I'm like, okay, yes, I just want to surrender. I want to release. What is this season teaching me? It's actually teaching me to have a rest. It's actually teaching me, like, winter doesn't pretend to be a spring, right? It can't. It can only be a winter when it's winter, right? And what happens in winter? Things die. Things get quiet, right? It's a time for reflection. It's a time to go inward. It's a time for contemplation. I want to pretend that I'm not in an emotional winter, or maybe a physical winter, or a financial winter. I want to pretend it's spring. I want to be having all the newness and all of the things happening. Well, I, just like the nature of the world that we live in, I don't have that luxury sometimes. So I can choose then to stop fighting my nature, stop fighting the nature of the universe, and surrender fully to the season I'm in. That doesn't mean let it engulf and depress you. That doesn't mean I'm going to lay in bed forever, because again, that's a lie. Nothing is permanent. Everything changes. If I surrender to the season I'm in, I'm guaranteed that a spring is coming. I don't have to earn it, right? But the winter is here to teach me something, right? Even this and then winter doesn't even have to last long. This winter could last a day, a month. It doesn't have to last a long time, right? Especially if I know why it's here. It's always here for me to get what I need out of it. Everything in the universe is here to support us. Everything is happening in concert with each other. It's all necessary, even the stuff we don't want. So even though it doesn't feel good to be in a funk, it doesn't feel good to be in a place where I don't have all the motivation or the natural drive or ambition, it's there to teach me something. Breathe, rest, reflect, contemplate, wonder about, if I really fully surrendered, what do I really need, instead of persevering and pushing through all the time, right? It's reminding me to be in the flow, to go with the flow. And so even in a relationship, if you're in a winter in that aspect and things are bad and you just want to put on your Abraham Hicks, right? You just want to like get in your power positive thinking and you want to see things differently. Okay, you can do that. You can create a spring when you're in a winter, but you're going to miss the lesson that you need. That winter in your relationship is teaching you something. It's trying to tell you something that maybe you're missing, that you're not seeing, that you're needing, whether it's to look at you or to look at your partner and ask yourself, how can I even get more of my needs met? Not pretend I don't have them. Like now I'd love to pretend I'm not feeling the way that I'm feeling, but really it's a part of my DNA. I go through these ebbs and flows just like you probably do. Now I know in this phase what I need to do is pay extra attention to what I need that's going to fill me up and help me weather the winter that I'm in. Do I need a warm blanket? Do I need a cup of tea, right? What do I need to weather the storm I'm in if I happen to be in a storm? Not pretend that I'm not in one, right? I hope this has been helpful for you today. If you want to learn more about the seasons, there are other videos in here. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, because there are lessons of the seasons videos and things like that, and I talk about consistently. Or consider working with me in a one-on-one capacity where I can walk you through these different ebbs and flows of your life and teach you how to navigate your own nature. I look forward to hearing from you really soon. Take excellent care of yourself, even if you're in a winter. Get cozy, right? Stay warm. Figure out what you need to weather the storm. See you soon. Bye-bye.